much of your all's time, and I really, really do appreciate you guys coming out. Um, let's see. I'm gonna try one more thing. Let's see. I see you in there, Jonathan. Good to see you, man. Uh, let's see, Mr. Russell. Hope everything's going well. Mr. Kemp. All right. Well, you guys are in here. Okay. So what I'd like you to do, if I don't know, you guys might be driving, you might be stationary, but if you have any questions, please put them up and let me know. Put it in the chat. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I promise you, because there will be a next time, which is going to be next week. I want to do this on a weekly basis. I want to be able to get together, and I want to be able to have some conversation, some dialogue, and be able to talk about some things that are going on out there, to be able to talk about some things that are coming up, to be able to look long term, right? And then be able to talk about those things so that you can set yourself up, not just for what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen by the end of the month, what's going to happen next week, but so that you can actually start planning long term. I mean, if the goal is to grow your fleet, grow your business, then we want to start thinking beyond just the immediate, right? So I want to keep this thing going and be able to talk about some things and build off of that. And so what I'll do real quick, I'm going to go over what I'd like to talk about today. And of course, the interaction would allow us to kind of guide in terms of what we will talk about in the future. But today, there's a lot of things that I wanted to bring to the table. And I'm going to go over these things real quick, just to kind of give you an outline of what we're going to be reviewing here. Okay. Last time we got on and I showed you guys Elevate. Hopefully you guys got to see that and get an idea of what that's all about. I really think that that's going to be a powerful tool. And I'm talking about from the standpoint of being able to help you grow your business. And that is something that, I think it can really magnify or it can multiply the ability for you to grow your business. And what that means is this. What I'm meaning is this: having some type of order and process, or plan, I should say, have a plan in place, and then actually be able to follow that plan, right? And this tool is going to help you to do that in the environment that we're in, okay? We're talking about building relationships. It is so vitally important, and I wish that I could get you guys on here so that we could have conversations, because I know some of you talk about that building relationship and how it has been important for you all and what it's done for you. If you want to put it in the chat and talk about that, I would love for you to do that, and everyone would be able to see that. But how building relationships makes a difference. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen for sure. There's no question about that. Let's see here. I can hear you. Okay, Russell, very good. Jonathan can hear me. Okay, just can't speak. Okay, got it. All right, I appreciate you guys. Okay, so let me see. Let me go back here to share this. All right, there we go. So, in moving forward, and I just saw myself on camera. Forgive me for the way I'm dressed. I wanted to, it's Friday, but I really wanted to put on something better for you all in regards to us getting together, because I really take seriously what we do here. I don't look at it as we just meet and then we forget about it and we move on. Okay. I would love for this to build into a scenario where when we come together, we are business minded, right? I'm not talking about being all serious. I mean, we can have fun and what have you, but I'd like for us to be able to come together and really look for opportunities and strategies and things like that to be able to do what it is that you're trying to do in your business. Okay. I totally believe that there's a ton of opportunity out there for you to grow. Okay. And but we just have to kind of put all the pieces in the right place for you in order to be able to do that. It might look a little different for someone else. That's okay. But in the meantime, what I'd like us to do is to really, I'll send this out, this recording as well, but I want to be able to bring us together and really look at this in a serious way. I take it seriously. I don't play around when I talk to you guys. What I mean by that is that I don't try to bring stuff that's not going to be of value to you. So I really hope that this helps. Okay. So and that includes how I dress. So anyway, going back to our topics, one of the things that I'd like to talk about, I had sent out an outlook for the rest of the year. I didn't get too deep about it, but I just wanted us to get our minds kind of thinking about, okay, even though it's August, the middle of August, toward the end of August, and we're talking about to the end of the year, it matters. Today, what we do matters as to what's going to happen the rest of the year. The reason being is in our industry, we the things that we do, we see the rates and we see them go up, right? Well, when those rates go up, it's not because of things that are going on right now. It's because of things that have already happened. Okay. Now, if we then get into the rest of the year and then things are on a downward trend, right? Well, that is stuff that's because of things that have happened in the past. Now, think about that. If we're here today, right, and we're experiencing some good times and things are going well, that's because of some things that have happened in the past. Now, if we go down the road and then things change, well, when we were experiencing good times, there were things that were going on that caused things to shift. But while we were in the good time period, we were totally oblivious as to what is coming. Now, in our industry, we know things go up and we know things go down and they go up. So there's a cycle. So in the sense that things are now good, that should not be a surprise. And that things are not so good, that should not be a surprise. All right. What we should then be able to do is say, okay, this is how our industry is. This is what our environment does, the volatility of it. But how do I either smooth it out for myself or how do I ride those waves and be successful? Right. So in that, we're talking about a partly of the mindset or just understanding that the industry that we're in, the game that we're in, and be able to play accordingly. And when I say game, I don't mean it in any lighthearted way. I mean it in the sense that I'm a sports guy, right? So I was all over the Olympics, the W right now, I'm all into that. Baseball, I used to play the sport, and we got football season coming up, so I'm all into sports. But as far as this goes, we want to be able to look at not just look at what's going on right now, but just kind of understand the landscape. Okay, so we sent out this outlook. Q4 2024 outlook, what to expect and how to prepare. Okay. And that's kind of how I presented things in regards to this webinar. I'm going to back up real quick. I don't know if you all have been following our series, and our series is on economic indicators. Okay. Our industry follows the economy. When the economy is doing well, let's say the housing market is doing well, that means a lot of other things are doing pretty good, supposedly. And therefore, we're going to be busy. Flatbed is going to be busy, right? There's a lot of things that are going to be moving, and they're going to need our assistance to move it, okay? So when the economy is doing well, when people have money, when people feel good, when people are spending, when we have consumers doing their part, then that trickles down, okay? That trickles down to us, and then we stay busy. We become busy, all right? Now, there are times where the government or other things try to influence the consumer to make moves, all right? And when they move, then that's when the economy starts to move, and then we get busy, okay? Now, with that said, thinking about it in that way, and I'm trying to be quick about all this, and I apologize because there's so much to talk about on all these points. But when we think about that, we cannot, we tend to kind of look at what's going on right now, right? Oh, what are the rates doing right now? What, where's the freight? Do we have volume or not? Okay. Now, when we think about it, thinking about how we got here, right? Whether the rates are good or not. And then, and we think about it and we look back and we look at some economic indicators and some information in the news, we probably could have figured out what was going to happen today, maybe 3 months ago. And if we had that kind of crystal ball, then we would have been able to prepare for that, right? Not in the sense that prepare for, hey, we're going to get all the freight and we're going to stay busy, but in the sense of, okay, let me make some adjustments here, even from the standpoint of communicating with your current clients, communicating with your existing the brokers that you work with, being able to communicate with prospects. Okay. So if you have this little crystal ball that I'm talking about, and you're able to see some things, just look at a few things and be able to come up with your own idea as to what is to come through all the noise that we hear, then you might be that much better for your clients, the prospects, in having these conversations. Not that you're going to change anything in their business or, but to have these type of conversations, okay? Why is that important? Well, two things. One, there's a lot of noise on the shipper side, right? The shipper hears a lot of people wanting their business. And when you call, you're going to be the same as all the rest. If you are able to be different in a relative way, then you are going to be able to have their ear longer and be on their mind longer as well. They're going to remember you. Now, not just because your conversation is different, it's because it's relevant, because it is different, because it means something, it has meaning. And as time goes on, you can come back and say, well, it looks like I was right, or it looks like I was wrong, or whatever that might be. But that is a dialogue that will continue to happen. As their business changes, whether they do more business, they do less business, the CEO wants a change, or whatever the case may be, you can be a part of that dialogue, right? I mean, you're still going to talk rates and all that, but at the same time, you're going to be able to justify rates, and you're going to be able to justify your how you how you communicate with them. It's a totally different way of talking, and it's so relevant. It has so much meaning. You may not get the business right there and then, but it will happen down the road. Businesses, they have their RFP, maybe every February or whatever it is. They look at things happen within their business, things change to where they need more carriers, or they need more help, or they need better help, right? So with these economic indicators, this series, you can go on to the blog, okay, at Elevate Freight. That's ELEVATEFR8.com, and you go to the blog. You can read through those blogs. We just started putting them out because the platform is new, but there's information there that should be really a benefit to you in talking about some indicators. So these things we're going to be talking about. And if you don't have an account with us, please log in there, go on there, sign in. It's free, and you'll be able to get in there. The articles are in your account, will be in your account, and at the same time there will be some other articles that will feature there that won't be on the blog that'll be of benefit to you. But yeah, I would start doing that, because there's going to be some things that we're going to be offering that I think are really going to be of help to you in being able to secure freight. Okay, so going back to the outlook, I did not just now get into, I did get into it, but I didn't in the sense that I didn't touch upon all these things. I just don't have the time and I apologize. But in terms of what to expect this year, they do talk about rates, right? Probably because of the CPI. That's one of the indicators that we talk about, that we wrote about. So you can go in and you probably know about the CPI, what that means, but go in, check it out. We explain it, I think, really well. If you have any insight about it, please feel free to share it with me. I'd love to hear about that. But the CPI, which is the indicator they use to measure inflation, which basically is the increase in price, the price of things. With that going down, right, this last review, then they anticipate the Fed's lowering interest rates, right? And if they lower it, they don't know by how much, but this is what everybody's waiting for and everybody wants, then there will be more economic activity, more business activity. Does that mean the consumer is going to spend more money? Who knows? Don't know. But they've been spending a lot of money, but yet at the same time, they've been going into a realm of borrowing a lot of money, right? Now, again, I don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but this does impact the trucking industry, okay? So when we see these things, talk about these things, hear about it on the news, and have some kind of understanding about it all, then we can start looking at our business in a different way and start communicating with shippers in a different way, okay? And we can start building these relationships to the point where it makes sense to work with you. And then maybe at some point it's like, hey, do you have any other trucks? We need more help, right? And I've heard you guys talk about that, finding drivers, that's a challenge. I just heard something, a podcast about driver recruiting. So I'm going to try to dig in on that. Maybe I can provide some information that could help in regards to that. But it sounds like that should not be a challenge. There is a learning curve to that in regards to bringing on, carriers if you haven't done that before, or drivers, what have you. But at any rate, moving forward, look at this outlook, dig in on that. If there are any questions that you have, I'd love for you guys to give me questions throughout the week. And then we can address that next time we get together, next Friday. So one of the things I will mention going into 2024 and then 2025, when you starting today, if you really look at this thing, there is a way to prepare for 2024. You might look at it at the end of the year and say, man, I didn't move the freight I wanted to. Look at it from the standpoint of building relationships, okay? If you can get into that idea of building relationships now to the end of the year, and then when next year comes about, especially when there's bid season and things like that, you can be in that conversation. Maybe you only have one truck, and I get it. You need this many trucks in order to work with this company or that company. But the thing is this, it's not always that way, okay? So you want to be able to build relationships now so that going down the road, when we get into the new year, right, you're not starting at ground zero. Right now, you start at ground zero. Not all of you, but some of you starting at ground zero. And then when you get to 2025, you're going to be starting at ground zero unless you do something now, because time is going to pass no matter what you do. So, but what matters is what you do with the time you have. Okay. Time will pass no matter what you do, but what matters is what you do with the time you have. Okay. I'm going to insert Elevate here real quick, our platform. Okay. Elevate can help you to process through this. I mean, we have a free version of Elevate. Okay. But Elevate can help you in managing that process, okay, so that you can be on track and be able to be in position to acquire business, when those opportunities come up. So at any rate, moving on, let's see. I tried to stay, okay, we talked about economic, good. We talked about that. Okay. Now, I keep talking about communicating with these shippers, these opportunities and things like that. There is a sales element to all of this, okay? Obviously, we do train on that, but I'd love to, field those type of questions as well. You can send them to me when we're talking about sales. And I love sales. I've been doing it for so long, and it's not sales in the way that people might think it to be, in the bad way. I mean, I just talked to a carrier yesterday, and he said, he used to do sales, and I told him, I said, I'm not trying to sell you on this and that. And he said, no, 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 no. Sales is sales. I mean, that's what it's a part of business. I mean, it's just a matter of, presenting something that caters to a need you have, right? At least that's the way I see it. And therefore, if it makes sense, then we move forward, if that is what the client is saying they want. If they have a problem, I have a solution for it, you know. So, any rate, for you, if you have shippers that have a problem, so to speak, we'll just title this problem where they're trying to move freight, or maybe they do have an issue. Maybe there's someone that's not as responsive, or whatever the case is. You can have that opportunity, to earn that business, but you have to be whatever it is that they are needing as their solution. Okay. But we do offer sales training, and I love it. I mean, the ones that have gone through our training, I think that it's really helped change their mindset, right? In terms of how they see the industry and how they see opportunities. It's not going to be always about the broker. Broker exists. We need the brokers. We need shippers. We need dispatch. We need carriers. We need it all. All right. So with that, I mean, there's fraud and all that stuff that goes on. So how do we navigate through it all, right? And to be successful. So those are some of the things that I definitely want to talk about, but I'd love for you to send me your, any questions in regards to sales and developing relationships. That's number one, I believe. Let's see. And I'm sorry for going through this so quickly. I do have another meeting coming up here shortly. Oh, and then this is something I really want to hear from you guys. And I'm going to figure out how to get the audio up and going for next time. But credit check service. I'm communicating with a company about providing service. If you have a factoring company and you go to them to check on the credit worthiness of a broker or maybe even a shipper. But so I'm talking to a company about how we might be able to offer that, to you. So I want to know if that is important, how important that is for you. How important is it for you? Let's say you opt for our program and we're making calls for you, and then there are these shippers that you are interested in, right? Or you find shippers that you're interested in and you want to do a check. You might have a factoring company that already does that for you, that offers that. But to have your own service, to be able to check, do a check, you might have 5 checks a month or whatever it is. I don't know. But let me know. I mean, how important is that for you? Would that be a benefit to you to be able to do that, to be able to, and doing these checks and these reports that they give you, these reports are pretty good. They're able to tell you if this person has had issues in the past, if they have like other dealings, around the world, around the country, because if it's someone that's doing business elsewhere, there could be, some red flags there that you want to look out for. So, any rate, I would be interested to hear about that. And then the last thing, let's see, what time is it? I'm already late. I'm sorry, and I apologize. And then going into next week, next Friday, I'm going to do this again next Friday, and you guys coming in and me doing this, it really is going to help me to develop how to present things, and how to develop this and determine if I need to go an hour or just keep it at a half an hour. Okay. So as time goes on, I'm going to be able to figure all that out, but please feel free to give me feedback. I want to hear from you all. Let me know, because I want this to be of benefit to you. If we can meet up once a week, hear some amazing stories, hear how things are working for you all, how things are really popping off, or what are you seeing in your area? I'll figure out the format, but I really want to be able to keep this going on a weekly basis. At any rate, so next time, I want to be able to talk specific next time, okay? Talk about some things that are going on out there. Like right now, there's this labor strike that's going on, labor issue that's going on in Canada. And the world is small. I talk about it all the time. It really is. And when we think about it, how does Canada impact us? I mean, that's closer to us. I mean, to think about what's going on with the Hamas thing, Israeli thing, war, I don't mean to call it a thing, but it is a bad thing that's going on. And the invasion of Ukraine by Putin, and then other things that are going on. Something closer to us, there's Canada. We have an election here in the U.S., but how does that impact us? There's a lot of stuff that we get from Canada. We import more than we export to Canada, right? In the billions, right? And I mean, main things are like oil. Oil is huge in Canada. It really is. I did a write-up on that about a year or two ago. There's wood. When we had COVID, there was a lot of lumber that was to come in, but everything shut down. And then when everything started up again and people started moving into houses, there weren't enough houses that were on the market. Therefore, houses needed to be built. And there was a big demand, and there was wood now that needed to move. So they had to get that back going. So there was a shortage on wood. Wood goes from $300 to $900. And then all of a sudden, these houses cost a lot of money, and people are spending money like crazy just to get a house. They sell a house, make a lot of money, go to buy a house. They don't even have enough money to buy a new house because they're so expensive. And so a lot of that wood was coming from Canada, and and there's that impact. Canada does impact the U.S. economy. If there's a slowdown, a shutdown there of the rail, right, in Canada, I think they have to get the government involved to keep the talks going. But then it's going to slow things down here. It'll have an impact on over the road transit. Okay. So those are some of the things that we can talk about, and some other things that really, really do impact our industry. And again, I am apologizing. I know I've apologized multiple times. So aside that, I really, really do appreciate you guys coming out. I feel so bad that look, let's see. Do we have any questions? We don't have any questions. Okay, so nothing for me to answer, but please, I want to see you back here next week. I'm going to figure this out. Okay, I might have to use a different system, and I really do appreciate you guys coming out. I'm pretty sure this is recorded. Yes, it is, and I'll send it out, and we'll go from there. All right. So go visit us at elevatefr8.com. Sign up. Make sure you have an account. We do have a podcast that's out. When I send out this recording, I'll even put a link to the podcast if you don't have that. And so we're really trying to do some things to make a difference. And I really want to see you guys grow. Okay. All right. Thank you guys, and have a great weekend. All right. Appreciate it.